And it looks like we are live, so I'm going to say hello everyone and welcome to a terrible stream for terrible people. How are we doing this fine Monday? What have you been up to? How did you spend your weekend slash the entirety of last week since I last quote unquote saw you? What's going on? How is thing? How it do? We spent the weekend quote unquote acquiring books. Because we decided to learn about e-readers, because both of us want to read more. Mrs. Sick already has her iPad, so she was like, well, I'll take books onto my iPad. And I was like, I want a fancy new gadget, plus we had a good reason to experiment with learning how e-readers work. Hint, hint, Christmas. So we've been trying to figure out which books we actually want to read. Now, to be fair, got a colour one for a very good reason.
It started out as you wanted to read Berserk.
It was mostly because I wanted to read Berserk, but I didn't want to read it on a computer. And, like, there are other tablets in this house, but I never use them. And I know that e-readers are, like, stupid for battery life. So I was like, if I had one, like, every time I pick up my tablet, the battery's dead. And it's fucking annoying. So I thought, if I have an actual e-reader, every time I pick it up, the fucking, at least the last thing I was reading is going to be on the screen.
What do you call it? It's you always say things with less steps. It's less friction.
Friction.
Yeah, that's the one.
Lowering friction between doing the things you want to do. Yes, it's a term that Mrs. Sick thinks I made it up. I think. She's like,
no, I don't.
She gives me this look.
The word friction, I understand that.
No, but the way I use it, as if I'm mostly razzing you here. But yeah, so then we realised just how few books. Like
favorite kind of chip, the potato one.
Favorite kind of chip.
I do like sweet potatoes though.
Like favorite kind of potato is just like not actual just a potato, like she said, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are nice, but like presentation, I guess. I know that there's those weird fancy ones that I think it's like a Japanese thing where they do these special cuts on it and then you fry it and it's like this weird big sort of, I think it's called accordion potatoes. I can't believe you got me onto food. How could you? Crinkle cut chips, I don't get. Like, they're fine.
They have an amazing texture to them, though.
Okay, now, okay. That, to me, a chip, as long as the chip is cooked properly and it's like a decent quality chip, it doesn't really matter. I've always found that fucking potato, what are the ones that are always horrible, rarely nice?
What, fries?
No. It's like a big lump of potato reconstituted. I can't think of the word off the top of my head.
Jacket potato?
No. It always comes with a breakfast.
Oh, hash brown.
Hash browns. There you go.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Potato hash browns are universally undercooked. I think that they're just impossible to cook. That's the only way I can imagine how that works. Always fucking disgusting. Always have that weird, gross starch crunch is the only word I can use to describe it. Same thing with any chip that's undercooked or any potato that's undercooked. It has a very unpleasant crunch to it. And I'm not someone who gives that much of a shit about texture. I like a good texture, but a bad texture is like fine. As long as it's not slimy. Slimy's gross. Slimy's very gross. But yeah, mashed because it's food and drink. It depends how much milk you put in it, I suppose. Sand or butter. Having a potato shake. That's an interesting concept. Did he mean crisps? Who knows? But my favourite crisp is probably something in a ridged variety, especially with lots of flavour on it.
Ridged for his pleasure.
Ridged for her pleasure. Ow, 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 ow. Why are you doing this? This is the weirdest sex and food thing ever. Vodka is my favourite form of potato. Fair. Texture of cheese. I don't really think of cheese as having a texture, but of course
cheese definitely has a texture.
I just like the taste. It's yummy. The only cheeses Mrs. Sick really likes are very strong flavoured ones, which are usually ones that I can't really cope with. There's this Applejack stuff, which is just on the border of a bit much.
Oh, that's normal cheese to me.
Yeah, to you, that's what tastes of cheese.
Yeah.
Whereas I can eat mild cheese, and I get the craziest looks. It's like, how can you even taste that? Because my taste buds work.
Yeah, chili cheese is nice as well. Mainly just because it has chili in it. Though.
Next week is Canadian Thanksgiving. What have you people got to be thankful for? I'm sure plenty.
For Linus? I don't...
LTTstore.com. Yeah. Sorry, dude. I'm one of your biggest not paying fans. You'll remember Six-Pack. I've had a very extremely bad week. I'm sorry I haven't followed you. Please, please forgive me. Please, please, please never. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to be. I don't want to be harsh, but if you didn't say anything, I probably didn't notice. I notice when people turn up. I do not notice when they're not there. That's basically my main thing. And there's probably a few people who turn up all the time, and I don't even notice them at all.
He's
sorry
like
to that.
He's like a toddler with object permanence.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I turn around from this computer, I'll forget I'm streaming. That's just how it is. But yeah. So if you have any suggestions for good books, getting back on actual topic, mostly fun things to read. I don't want to read something boring. I'm going to try and read...
I love how you say that, because like most of the stuff that I read, you would probably consider boring.
No, not at all. I wouldn't choose to read it,
Why
but that's
though?
not because I find it boring.
Why though?
Because I would choose to...
Because you would find it boring.
No, I would find it not as entertaining as something else.
You like comedy books usually.
I search for dopamine. I like things that make me laugh, and that's what I'll have enjoyment doing. I started reading the Yahtzee's first book. I think it's his first book, Mogworld, and that's pretty well written. It's pretty good, actually. Made me laugh a couple of times already. Haven't finished it yet. I think I'm only about 8% through, but I will eventually get there.
What about who's that guy that you like?
Terry Pratchett.
Yeah, but there's another guy that you like.
Oh, there's I can't remember
Tom
what is.
Holt. That was it.
That might be who wrote Expecting Someone Taller. That's a really good book. I don't remember who wrote Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, but I really need to read that one again, because I didn't understand so much of that book. When I read that when I was a little kid, when I was quite young, and a lot of it went way the fuck over my head, and I need to reread it so that I can now understand it with the context of not being a fucking idiot or being less of a fucking idiot.
Most of the books that I read are philosophy books.
Sir Terry Pratchett. Sorry. Douglas Adams as well, yeah. But yeah, Douglas Adams wrote Dirk Gently. Yeah, so I need to read more. That's something I'm planning on doing. I don't plan on being like fancy about my reading. Where's Wally? Where's Waldo?
If it has pictures, it helps. So graphic novels are good.
That's the thing. I actually have barely read any graphic novels, and that's why I got a colour one so that I could. I want to read Berserk. I was under the impression Berserk is one of those anime/manga things that is so fucking universally known that I just thought there was tons of fucking watchable stuff for it. But no, there's like one series and then another thing that's several like big long films stitched together that covers the same fucking material. And that's about it. And Berserk is massive.
Oh yeah, it's massive.
And it's still going. So I was a bit put out by that. So I was like, well, I'd like to learn more about this. I know that it's got some good fucked up art and shit.
There's supposed to be a fan-made anime series coming out.
I'm guessing you've read all of Pratchett. No, not even fucking close. I have read a small percentage. I've read Monstrous Regiment. I've read Mort. And I think I've read The Colour of Magic. But I'm not 100% sure because it kind of gets merged into the film thing that they did, the game, and the book itself. I've definitely started reading the book. Oh, and there was some other media that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. So yeah, not a lot. I might have read other of his books, but I can't remember any of them. Those are just the three main ones that I remember physically holding. King James has a book, I'm told. Should I get a Bible to put on the...
story behind King James's version of the Bible. It's just that he wanted to implement his own sort of... Because he had an obsession with witchcraft. And he thought that the witches were everywhere. And that they would cast spells on him, and he was really paranoid. So he wrote his own book to justify, like, searching out witches.
Yay! Men at Arms and Pyramids are my favourite from the Discworld series. Fair enough. We did watch all the sort of remakerings, which were good. Some people hated them, but I thought they were very entertaining. How about the Necronomicon?
War and Peace is hilarious.
No, generally I want something fun to read. Just, it's probably a good idea to read more in general.
I would recommend The Stranger, but you probably wouldn't want to read that.
What's it about?
It's about a guy who... I'm
guessing it's like a horror-ish thing?
No.
No?
It's about a guy who... his mum dies.
Oh, no.
And, yeah, and shit happens.
His mum dies and shit happens.
And there's a beach, which makes it a great beach read.
So, mum died and shit happens on a beach. So, it is a volleyball anime.
I'd ruin it if I'd said anything.
It's a volleyball anime.
Is it a Disney?
Someone's mum died.
Yeah.
There's a beach.
Bambi, yeah.
Yeah. Gridlock by Ben Elton. I don't know if two people have mentioned that or the same person has mentioned that multiple times.
And The Stranger is quite short too, so...
I guess I should write some of these down.
The plague fucking drags. Even though I did enjoy it, it really drags.
Very
but I
slow.
guess that's the point now.
The Shining. I've never been that into Told. I want to call him fuckface then.
Shits on a beach. Now that would be a hell of a story.
The most prolific writer in the universe, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Wrote The Langoliers as well, which is like a short story, but I've seen the film and the film is amazing. It's not good, but it's amazing. Stephen King, thank you. My brain just does not give me information.
Yeah, the demonology thing that King James as well. He was very paranoid about witches and witchcraft and spells being put on him and all sorts. So he became very paranoid about how to function in life, basically. And because he was in a position of power, he ordered a Bible to be written in his own version of events, basically.
Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology is pretty amusing. I've seen some Neil Gaiman stuff. You've tried to read American Gods, but it keeps putting you to sleep, doesn't it? Not because she finds it boring. It's just that if she reads for a bit, she just falls asleep.
If I read fiction, I fall asleep.
Yeah.
If I read fact books, I stay awake.
If I read fiction out loud and it's not written by me, I yawn like crazy.
Even when I was reading The Stranger, I'd fall asleep a few times.
Yeah. Freak Show by James St. James. It's about a teen drag queen in Florida who runs for prom queen. That sounds interesting. But yeah, generally, Berserk Omnibus is gigantic. That's what. Oh, pardon me. One of the problems is the just enormous file sizes, especially of comics and graphic novels. Like normal books, 5 meg. You get a billion of those fucking things on one device. If you didn't know, you can acquire most books from a website called Anna's Archive. It's amazing. I always use an ad blocker, so I don't know how bad it is for ads, but it's amazing. You can actually just pay to use it and get better downloads. Like, it will make you wait a long time between downloads. But if you're, let's say, thrifty, yeah, that's an amazing place to find any book pretty much that you've ever thought of. I think we've one book out of, what have we tried, like 30 so far, wasn't on there. One book out of tons, and some quite obscure shit as well.
Yeah, there were some philosophy books that weren't on there. And there's also some books that weren't on there because they're not out on, like, e-versions yet.
Anarchist Cookbook tells you how to make bombs. The Anarchist Cookbook is, like, so fucking tame. It borders on uninteresting. It's only interesting for its cultural impact over its actual contents. Yeah. No, I don't need that.
Yeah, public institutions that are great repositories for books. Yeah,
that's something else. Yeah,
apparently, Stanford University has a really nice big collection of books. So I'm going to look into that one.
But that's the other one, is that with an e-reader of not owned by the big, used to be a book company, with the one I got, you can go to your library and like get a special code or something. I'm not sure of the exact process, but then you could just borrow books from the library straight in digital format, which is fucking wild, which I'll have to look into as well. But yeah, speaking of wild, I need to find out how to take
Oscar Wilde.
No. So sick. Why are so boring? Because I'm always boring. You just hadn't noticed yet. This way, terrible stream for terrible people, you see. But if you don't want non-boring, or you do want non-boring, one of the two. I'm taking pitches for ideas of how to punish an annoying neighbor who plays music way too fucking loud. Because it's starting to really get on my nerves. They stopped me from working today because their music was so fucking loud when I wanted to start recording. I was very, very angry. Yes, I've done all the normal grown-up things, like trying to get them kicked out. No, I've sent a complaint in to our landlord, and we'll see how that rolls out. But if... the thing about shitty people is that they rarely stop just being shitty. It's, in our experience, we've gone through a number of neighbours who just, they've either started fine and turned into assholes, or they were assholes from the beginning. This one likes to scream randomly. Not at anyone, not anything coherent, just making incredibly loud screeching noises. And I don't know why.
It is like they're a 4-year-old. It's weird.
But the thing is, don't really care about that. It doesn't tend to disturb us that much. It's just entertaining more than anything. Play bad music even louder. No! That is such... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to be mean, but that is a stupid fucking idea. I don't want to hear loud music in my own house. We live in flats. I'm not a cunt. I don't want to bother my neighbours around me.
Yeah, if you want to listen
There's just so many things about that that's just awful.
If you want to listen to loud music, we use headphones.
Yeah, we are a headphones house. One of my temptations was to put money into it and just buy it some. We think it's a woman, but we're not sure who's playing the loud music anyway. But like buying them some nice headphones and sticking them to their fucking door. Yeah. Italian disco. Our noisy neighbour was also... Our noisy neighbour was also a fan of attempting aggravated burglary. So when they made threats on being asked to turn down, we just called the cops. Yeah, I mean, you should. I wish I was a shitter person. Then, I mean, I'm not a shitter person than them. I'm sure of it. But like, I can't do things that involve like lying, especially in a legal sense. Partly because I just really don't want to. It's probably good that I don't want to, because it's probably like kind of illegal. But the urge to just say, oh yeah, I saw so many drugs. Yeah, they're just bringing like wagons full of fucking mysterious white powder. You might want to check them out, just to get them to turn their fucking music off. That's the thing I want to do. I never would, but yeah, it's just I will never understand truly shitty people, like just the selfishness it takes to play. Like, we live in a building that has like a couple of foot thick walls between the houses.
The walls are really thick.
They are unbelievably thick, and they just play music right through them by turning it, I can only imagine, to be ungodly levels. It's ridiculous. And just the sheer selfishness to do that and never think, oh, I might actually be bothering someone, blows my mind. Trebuchet. Someone say I should fire a trebuchet at them. Oh man, I had that too. Just booming bass through the walls 8 hours a day. We're not getting booming bass through the walls. We're getting everything through unbelievably thick fucking walls, which makes me think that they have it so fucking loud it has melted their brain. And that's probably explains the squeaking. Baby oil. There are terrible things that I have considered. I'm not going to say any of them for in case someone else, because there's multiple people in this place. Someone might decide to take drastic action, and I do not want to be anywhere near that.
I actually have considered that. This is the neighbour might be on the spectrum. I have considered that, but like I said, like the screaming is not really an issue. It's just a bonus to the very.
It's an interesting
music.
Thing.
Yeah.
But the loud music is unacceptable. I don't care. If you need loud music, get some fucking headphones. You can play it as loud as you want. You're not going to bother anyone. There's no good reason for it. If you can't do headphones, do earphones. There's always a way. All levels are ungodly, yes? Put a badger in the trebuchet. I haven't even got a trebuchet. I know you all think that I'm actually physically a knight who walks around knighting it up, but I'm mostly just a dude who just wants people to shut the fuck up and be good neighbours. If YouTube goes to an ad when the show comes back, if I press live, it will go to an ad. Again, fucking YouTube. Motherfucker, how dare they? I once asked my neighbour to be a little bit more quiet, and he threatened to punch me in the face. Some people are just like that. Yeah, some people are absolute scum. I have a bit of an anxiety disorder as well, so I just don't like fucking interacting with people at all. So when people are being giant cunts, it's actually very difficult to deal with. Yeah. What I need is like an overconfident, like I'm a big guy and I'm probably a lot more intimidating than I think I am, but it says sick, not so perjury. It's fair.
My biggest concern is anytime you like go up to somebody and say, oh, do you mind turning it down? There's always a chance that they're just a cunt.
Or a nutter.
And they see it as a challenge to play it even louder.
Yeah.
And in fact, they play it for longer than they usually would do.
Yeah, I was going to finish, and now I'm just going to make your life miserable.
Yeah.
Because how dare you exist?
How dare you insinuate that I'm annoying?
Or how dare you insinuate that I shouldn't be annoying? Yeah, it just drives me fucking crazy. So I would like to figure out some way that isn't going to get me in trouble, but I could punish them, and I can't think of fucking anything.
I think,
and I mean a serious way. Don't tell me to set fire to them or something stupid like that.
The biggest issue really is because this is not just like, oh, we've suddenly now got a loud neighbour. We've had multiple loud neighbours.
Yeah, they come in and out. There's a bit of a turnaround. I mean, we've lived here a while.
Some of them have been arrested.
Yeah.
And other ones are just we've been told by police that they were violent towards them, which is why they got arrested. Other ones is they just got arrested because they were resisting arrest.
Yeah.
And then other ones have got kicked out because of other complaints from other neighbours as well for other issues. So, yeah, it's just we've had a plethora of not very nice neighbours. So
can you complain to landlord? We have put in complaints to the appropriate authorities as far as we can thus far. We're waiting on various responses. Something in their mailbox with a note. So, what's the something? Here's a note. Shut the fuck up. Here's some bullets.
Oh God, you can order fire ants from the US.
Oh no. Yeah, but okay. Funny, terrible fucking idea.
Yeah.
Because we are in connected homes. And ants, I don't think they give a shit about 2 foot of concrete. They'll go through anything. No. See, that's the other side of it. It can't be something that would affect me. So like you can't have like pouring things into their house. Also, again, stuff that would actually get me into trouble. I mean, someone once suggested that I pin a note to their door using an axe that says, please turn your music down. Just like very polite message, axe to the door.
Like, we have had a few nice neighbours.
Oh, we've had...
Basically, we didn't even know they existed. They
we've
were so
had
quiet.
some neighbours that we have no idea about. They're perfect. Love them. They're my favourite people ever. They could be, I don't know, they could be giant thieves or something. I don't care. They're quiet around me and they haven't tried to rob me. They're 10 A+. But yeah, people who are just really fucking noisy drive me absolutely crazy. I vote axe. I am not doing the axe. I am 100% sure that would get you into trouble.
It's just such an extreme level.
Yeah. Mail them a box full of locusts.
Oh
I mean,
God, what is weird guys with insects? Oh my God.
I mean, I literally know their address. There are things. Isn't there that glitter thing? Oh, there's the bag of dicks, and it's like eat a bag of dicks, and it's like a bag of sweets, but they're like fine sweets. Like there's nothing wrong with them. They just look like penises. So you can mail someone a bag of dicks.
No, glitter bombs are reserved for porch pirates.
Glitter bombs and porch pirates is fucking hilarious. But yeah, like the neighbours that we've had consistently for the longest have been quiet. Like the ones who live across from us. We used to have someone else who lived across from us who was nice, but just a bit old and a bit, I don't know how to put it, chatty. Like every time somebody's like, oh, hello, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know anything about you.
I think it would be a really good idea if you could opt into like an introvert house share thing. So like
introvert street.
Yeah, like you live in a place where everyone's just an introvert and they opted in for that.
And if anyone ever says hello to you, they get kicked out. That sounds fucking phenomenal. And the only way you're allowed to communicate for like if you really want to be friends with anyone,
you have to fill out paperwork.
Yeah, there's like meticulous paperwork.
That's way too much effort. Nah, I won't bother.
Yeah, I don't need friends that much. We were once maliciously prosecuted by neighbours because they wanted to buy my grandma's house cheap. Oof.
Ooh.
What did they actually do? Because I'm not going to lie, as much as that's really fucked up, it also sounds quite interesting. Door wedge on the outside of their door wouldn't work.
God, that's a fire hazard.
It's funny, and it's a fire hazard, but it wouldn't work because A, the door doesn't open outwards, and B, it's a front door. So it just, like the way it's set up. Yeah, conceptually very funny. Put a music box to their wall and play softly. You are too loud for 48 hours straight. They'll hear it subliminally and adapt. Yeah, but which way? You are too loud. Oh, I should be louder. Yeah. I got 2 round wine gums, 1 oblong wine gum, stuck them together, and they looked exactly like male anatomy. Is this just something that you do for fun? Today, I am going to make a sweetie penis. Just start using thick American accent outside their door. It should cause them to abandon their home barely. Why would that? No, it wouldn't.
Just say y'all way too much.
We had this, where we used to live, we had this neighbour. Well, I don't think he was a neighbour. I just think he knew one of our neighbours. But they'd all hang outside their house for some fucking reason. And he used to laugh like this. He's like, ha, 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 ha. It was the most obnoxious thing you've ever heard.
Loud as
it was very funny the first 100 times, and then it got really fucking annoying. And every time we heard him, it was just like, should we just get the knives and stab ourselves? It was just so bad. Banana in the tailpipe. I don't think they even have a car. Oh, unless you mean I'd shove a banana up their ass. Pretty sure that's a crime. Although I could ask, and if they're into it. I don't even know what this person looks like.
I'm going to stop them playing music.
True. If you stop playing music, I'll take it back. The Americans are here. There goes the neighborhood. For fuck's sake. Oh no, there's a Starbucks. Oh, where'd that even come from? And some other well-known American store. McDonald's, there you go. It would be hilarious if they were in the chat. It would be statistically unbelievably fucking unlikely. I'm almost 99.99999999 recurring % sure they're a fucking chav. So I don't see my content being something they'd be into. And B, there's a lot of people on this planet. Even just in this country alone. I mean, how many people in the chat are even from, like, live in the European region? I know that it's some of you, but I'm damn sure that it's not all of you. Yeah, like those wood pigeons that hoo all the frigging time. I don't mind that. That's not too bad.
That's a nature sound. That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, it could get pretty fucking annoying if it was...
Now, if pigeons made booming bass music...
Pigeon bass.
Pigeon bass.
I'm not kidding. They were subsequently arrested for abuse of the courts. Police officer sent to prison for their abuse. Nice. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. Right, I missed part of it. Took us to court for barking dogs. People being there in court. They accused me of being a pimp because nobody can make love that long. What the fuck?
How long are you talking? Because me and Sid can go for like 2 hours.
Oh man, yeah, it's a quickie if we get in under an hour.
It's under an hour. It's a quickie.
We're like, oh my god, it's not tomorrow. All their base are belong to you. If there was a way to just like disable someone's music player from a distance, I'd be into that. I'd be so fucking into that. To be fair, I mean, you do have that gear that can interrupt Wi-Fi signals, and there is a non-zero chance.
6 hours. Oof. No, thank you. That's a bit long.
My best time is 6 hours. I mean, I think we've gotten pretty close. At least with breaks, I think we've easily been there as younger people.
Maybe when we were younger.
Yeah.
We just give up now.
Now it's like, okay, we've done it. I'm sweating a lot now. My arms and my elbows hurt. There is a way to disable someone's music player from a distance. It's called an EMP. Just protect your own electronics first. Funnily enough, don't actually have access to an EMP. And yes, I'm calling it an EMP, and someone will get that reference. Hack their Bluetooth and put your music on it. I am not a hacker man. I mean, I'm sure it's not actually that difficult. I know that there's like the Flipper Zero. Red versus Blue Emp reference? Yes. Activating Emp. Ah, fuck me. At least you're not an oyster, a noisy neighbor. A noisy noise, a noise, an oyster. Oh, fuck you. I didn't realize what you were doing to me. I don't remember the actual accusation. I just remember being told not to stand up, taking a bow in court again. True story. Nice.
Oh my god.
What has being a pimp got to do with one's ability to have sex? Surely pimps probably have very, very quick sex because they've got lots of people to do it with to keep them in line or whatever.
No, they have to get through. There's a rotation issue.
Yeah, some people are just, for want of a better word, mental, and just think that the world works by, I want that thing. All I have to do is make stuff up, and then I'll get it. Not realizing that people aren't as stupid as they are. My partner and I once went for 8 hours, but that was 20 years ago, and we were both much younger then, and there were some illicit substances involved. Yep, that sounds about right.
I can't even... 8 hours.
Move their walls like the landlord did in Black Books. Oh my god. I'm sure I've seen the episode, and I can't actually picture the actual thing in my head, but I can also just see it. Although Black Books, all I ever think of now is Duty to Do. What a fucking series. EMPs are pretty easy to make. Yeah, again, I don't actually... Like, lots of things are easy to make, but that doesn't make them not crimes. If you don't have pictures, it didn't happen. You're not getting pictures of random strangers from my chat. Thank you very much. I think that was to prove their point. Nobody can do the sex for that long, so they must be pump. Oh, that's just fucking nasty.
Right. Okay.
What a... I mean, not that we didn't know they were shitty people already, but fucking hell. It does just amaze that people just say just the most awful things for no fucking reason other than they are pricks. A bunch of feet pics. No. No, I don't think I've ever been requested for my feet pics, but I think it's because you don't see my face. So people kind of forget that I have them.
Also, you have unusual feet.
I don't have unusual feet. My feet are fine. What? This is news. You've got a problem with my feet.
I have a thing about feet anyway, because they're just elongated forehands.
Yeah, so basically all feet are bad to you.
Because, yeah, they're weird looking. Like, because you've got very long feet, so they look weird.
You have feet? This is news. You can see them right there.
I'm just really not into feet.
Look at your screen. My cousin has a foot that looks exactly like the foot from Monty Python that comes from the sky and squishes things. It's really gross, and he knows it's gross.
This is my gross foot.
Yeah. I'm going to use the foot.
Those are boots, not feet.
You sick lord drop.
Sick wears clown shoes.
My feet are not that big.
No, his feet are fairly average. It's just when I look at them, they seem bigger.
Yeah, that's your main problem with my feet, is you put your feet next to them and yours are fucking tiny.
Yeah.
And mine are like normal size. I knew a guy who was, he was about 3 or 4 inches shorter than I was and had feet 2 inches bigger.
Oh, that's weird.
So he had proper clown feet. Turns out, years later, I heard through fucking acquaintances, hadn't seen him for literally 15 years, and I heard out last time he was in prison for punching some woman in the face. So he turned out to be a fucking champion, didn't he? Yeah, I was like completely fucking unsurprised by it as well. It's the first stream from Persic I've watched, and the first thing I hear is stuff about feet. Great channel, very confusing. 10 out of 10.
Americans don't use the metric system because they have a thing.
They just constantly want to talk about feet.
There's a banana for scale.
I do love the anything but the metric system memes. They are very fucking funny. I haven't seen my feet since the 80s. Are you an amputee? Or, like, even if you're, like, quite a big person, there are ways and means of seeing one's feet. Unless they are gone. He'll never fall over in a storm. Fair. He just makes a giant L. My feet are okay. Ignore the fact that I dropped a fruit machine on it. Big toenail looks like an unkempt hoof. Oh, that's really gross. Not gonna lie, that's really nasty. I don't want to jinx it, but is your house still not all flaming again? All safe and sound? I can't for the life of me remember what happened after that. So, the many moons ago when we had the fire boys, we had a power cut in the morning, and then we called the electrical company, well, no, not the electric company, the overall electric authority, who sent a guy over. And he went in and he looked and he went, oh yeah, so this is clearly popped and it's like burnt some. We had like an umbrella in there and it burnt it a bit, so it obviously exploded. I was like, right. So he fucked off, and then he came back with his mate, and then they replaced the fuse, the mains fuse that went into the house, with another one, and that one exploded. Now at that point, what you're supposed to do is go, right, something's really fucking wrong, because those aren't designed to fucking explode randomly for no reason, just because someone plugged something in. Let's call in the fucking the real people. Instead, they just kind of got their mates round.
They were domestic electricians.
Yeah.
But instead of calling people who deal with mains electric, or at least turning off the electric, they put in another one. They decided to bring another mate in.
Yeah, so I come out after they've set this other one. There's 4 of them at this point, and they're all stood around like staring at it. And I said, oh, so is everything fixed now? And the guy who did it looks at it and goes, yeah, I hope so. Kicks it lightly, like taps it with his foot, and it fucking explodes. Like, it starts shitting out literal lightning. But as a particle, it's the weirdest thing I've ever fucking seen. Terrifying. But yeah, it's pissing lightning is the only way I can describe it. It makes a noise that I've never heard in my life.
It was just like...
It was fucking... it was guttural. It was like being screamed at by God. And it was very, very scary. I had to lock the door, or shut the door, and like be piss scared of it because my door handles are all metal. So, for context, this is all being done within a cupboard that's next to my front door, but isn't like directly attached to the house. So it's to check my electric shit, I have to leave through my front door, turn to the side, and then go into a different cupboard. So yeah, that's what they were working in. That's where it exploded. It had a lot of stuff in it. Thank you very much. It did not have a lot of stuff in it after it stopped being on fire, because it started pissing electric and then things started catching on fire. And yeah, so the fire service had to come. They basically just fucking doused it and turned off the mains and all that shit. It flooded the kitchen.
There was so much smoke.
Yeah. It flooded the kitchen, but it didn't actually damage anything within the house. But it is what it is, and we had no power and no gas because the gas mains. That's part of why the fire like kicked off. Is like the gas inlet into the house was also into that same space. Yeah, so that's when we got put in. Well, we got put in a shit hotel for a week, and then we got put into temporary housing for another couple of months. And yeah, during my time, like coming back and sort of sorting things out and trying to fix things and getting stuff sorted out so I could work while I was there. Eventually, come to talking to one of the electricians from the council who come and see things. Like, yeah, so someone told me that your fridge freezer was the cause of this. Like, that it had exploded. That my fridge freezer had, for no reason, set itself on fire. This was extremely untrue. And I was fucking fuming. Because there was a whole thing. There was an investigation, obviously, in order to determine who was at fault. I know who was at fault. There are 4 of the cunts. I was very, very angry at a lot of people, but it eventually sorted it. Well, I say it sorted itself out. A lot of people helped us sort it out, and they were great. And it was, we managed to get through the whole thing. But yeah, I was fucking livid. And we couldn't live in our house for months. And then when we got back in, like, I can't remember anything else from that. But it's years ago now. It was a long time ago now, and it's been a long time since, and it's all right. The gas man, was that Bottom or the Young Ones? I don't remember. Let's put the flammable boys right next to a huge electrical cable inlet smart. I mean, it's a utilities cupboard, basically. It's just what it is. It's just very, very big. Like, that's not that uncommon. Although now the direct in is outside. I think they did that after our...
Yeah, they did afterwards.
Yeah.
They started actually putting safety things in place that should have been put in place.
But the walls around our cupboard are still scorched. You can still see it. Which is, yeah. Occasionally I'll look up and I'll remember, oh yeah, there was a fire. My dad worked at Norweb when it was a thing for 40 years. Yeah, the exploding fridge thing is ridiculous. I mean, it's just objectively untrue, and I saw it. How long did the smell linger? It didn't really get in, because it was, like, it didn't affect our furniture or anything like that. We were very lucky in terms of how it worked out. To be honest, you would be quite surprised at how many things are explosive or flammable. I'm sure, but I just know what it was, and it was a fuse that was incorrectly installed because it shouldn't have been installed.
Literally watching him do it.
Yeah. I had to rewire my entire house by myself because of previous owner idiots. Yeah. Well, what we live in council housing at the moment. We want to move out, but everything's too fucking expensive. One of the reasons we want to move out is because of wanker neighbours, and we'd like to not have direct neighbours anymore and actual more space and all that shit, but that takes money, and everything is ridiculously expensive at the moment. So there are very good benefits to that, like the fact that when we had a fire, they sorted everything out and we didn't have to do shit. But on the other hand, you don't get to pick your neighbours quite so much. They're not going to be people who are buying a house that they give a shit about. I mean, that doesn't mean that there aren't shitty neighbours in houses that people have bought, obviously. But there also, houses don't tend to be quite so attached to each other. There's a fascinating Reddit of what actual electricians sometimes find in people's houses. There's a brilliant video where someone's saying, oh yeah, my nephew did all that wiring for me. Oh, he's a wonderful boy. And the electrician goes, yeah, when did his house burn down? And she went, oh, 2 years ago. Wait, what?
How did you know?
Yeah, how did you know? Because you're about a fucking hair's breadth away from it. Yeah, if you use a nail as a fuse, you're going to get problematic fires. Fucking hell. Oh, that's terrifying. My rent has doubled in 10 years. That sucks. Thankfully, one of the reasons we haven't moved is because ours hasn't gone up that much, but that's the beauty of living in this kind of house. But again, there are downsides. Big ones that make a lot of noise. True story, an addict tried to break into an electrical mains. He touched both wires, got 50,000 volts, lost both arms and a foot.
Oh, Jesus. That sounds
so I can assume that that probably... I mean, if he'd have not lost the foot, maybe he could have kicked the habit.
Oh my God.
I think I'm funny. In a weird way, if it made it so that they couldn't do drugs anymore because they're just unable to administer it.
Could you explain council housing for us colonies? As in the colonies.
It's just houses owned by councils, and they will rent them out to you. And when me and Mrs. Sick got together, we were incredibly fucking poor, and I was homeless at the time. I had somewhere to stay. I was staying with friends, but I didn't have a home, and I needed somewhere to get started. And then I got sent a letter. My mum got sent a letter, and then she took the most circuitous route to getting me that information. She had my fucking phone number, but for some reason chose not to use it, and just kept acting like she didn't know. It's very strange. I eventually found out that I had been accepted and I could have a place somewhere, but because I hadn't responded, I couldn't get the first one I was offered. So I had to redo the thing. Thankfully, because I was already technically at the top of the list, we got a place pretty quickly, me and Mrs. Sick. Stayed there for a while. She got pregnant. I started doing a bit of work. So it was like, we could choose and move, they call it. When you're having kids, they let you move up to a bigger house. So we did, to a bigger flat. And that's what we're in now. And it's just fractionally cheaper than anything else. And because the council owns it, they're a landlord. And because they're a council, they have a lot of people.
They're a government body.
Yeah, they have electricians, they have gardeners, they have all sorts of shit that will do all that. I'm addicted to 12-step programs. Yeah, so it's very, very good. But there are big downsides that, when you live in a place that poorer people live, some poor people are not great. That's just a fact of it. Some people are poor because they make incredibly bad life choices. Some people are poor because of bad circumstances. I like to think that's me. And now that my life circumstances have gotten better, I would like to, move away. But life circumstances then continue to say, hey, houses are basically fucking impossible to buy for you at the moment. You're going to need a lot more money than that, mate.
It's amazing how expensive they've gotten.
Yeah. We keep checking every now and again to see how much things are, and we go, oh my god. So what are these streams about? First time watching a stream from this channel. Also, have some teeth, you proper gits. Okay, thank you. These streams are about nothing. They are chill streams. They are hangout streams. They're mostly, I consider them, and this is kind of wanky, but it's community outreach. I'm not very good at I don't like things like Discord, and most people don't like Twitter, which I do spend a lot of time on because I like taking the piss out of people, but I don't actually spend time talking to people there really. So these are for, if you have questions, you can ask me. If you just want to talk to me, you can. I consider it community outreach, and I also consider it kind of just like being at the pub online. There's some people, someone has an idea, someone has a thought, they just want to say something, and we can riff on that for a bit. And sometimes I have ideas, sometimes I don't. I actually have some ideas written down this week, which is something I should do more often so that I can have a topic without having to think of one off the top of my head, especially when one doesn't come up. But yeah, a previous flat I lived at, one of the neighbours near me had a karaoke every other Saturday. I know your pain.
Oh, we had one of those who did that too.
They did that, but it wasn't every other Saturday. It was weekends at a time, every week.
Yeah.
Until very, very, very early in the morning.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5 in the morning.
I absolutely fucking hated them. And they were before my anxiety disorder got sort of out of control. So I would go and ask them to turn the music down, and they'd be pissed out of their heads. Oh, yeah, sorry. And then they'd want to have a conversation with me, and then they'd make veiled threats, even though her partner was just the skinniest streak of piss you've seen in your life. I don't think that this person could hurt me if they were trying, and I was asleep. But, it is what it is. And it's just, I don't know. I can't remember where I started on that. In my house, they have Section 8 housing, low income. They had one woman watch the neighbor's kids while the mothers got high. Like that's so you get different sort of, how do I put it? Certain council estates. That's what the areas where there's lots of council housing are called, council estates. Some of them are like actual big buildings, almost like mega buildings like you see in a cyberpunk thing. Skyscrapers absolutely full of flats. We've all seen them. I think in America they're called like projects or something. But those can be okay. Some of them are quite bad. But there's just different areas of roughness.
It really depends on the area.
This area is generally pretty good. Before we moved here, it used to be considered really fucking bad. But they basically kicked out all the dickheads. And they were like, we want to move families in here. So they did that. They just basically, everyone...
But that doesn't mean that all families are...
Yeah. Not all people are going to be good. Not all people are going to not be annoying. You know, and sometimes some people don't realise they're being annoying. I'm hoping this neighbour, when they get a certain letter, go, oh shit, I was being a fucking dick. I'll cut that out. I don't want to get kicked out. That would suck. But you never know. Invite yourself over to your neighbour's place and drink all their whiskey. I'm sorry, but...
They're probably not whiskey drinkers.
I was going to say they probably can't afford it. Like, yeah, like we are. I imagine I have a greater income than most of my current neighbours. I didn't when I moved in, but it's not enough to move out, and it's so annoying. So, yeah, one of the things we really worry about is like we have some quite nice things now, but we have to keep our curtains closed and shit in case some fucking arsehole decides, ooh, I'll have that. So that's another fun thing about living. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not having a go at people for not having money. Some, you know, we were poor and we were fine.
These types of areas tend to, you do get certain people who would, they just breed thieves here.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that. I'd just say some people who don't have a lot of money are not great people. Some people with loads of money are not great people.
There's plenty of people who are nice without money. I'm just saying that council estates are known for breeding thieves.
Yeah. Again, wouldn't say that. It's rude. It's fine. Our old neighbours would get drunk on the weekends and go out and shoot their guns into the air.
Oh, God.
That's fucking scary. You are awesome. I listen to her vids. Do you mean your vids while making video games, or do you mean Mrs. Six vids? Because you should be watching those. They're visual as well. I got my next door neighbour evicted. He was dealing meth. People would come at 2 a.m. and scream at his front door. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I mean, there is lots of things wrong with being a drug dealer. But if you're going to be a drug dealer, just be fucking quiet about it. It doesn't seem like it should be that difficult. I can't afford to pay attention. Brand new joke. So having crack addicts like I have as neighbours wouldn't help you. No, I feel like it wouldn't be amazingly useful. Go over there and ask to party with them until they lower it so you don't go over there. I have a funny feeling that if I go to someone's house and say, hi, I want to party, it's going to be taken the wrong way, I'll be honest. Especially if I'm assuming that we think it's a woman, and we also think it's a young woman, and I am nearly 40 now. I'm just not into that. I'm not into that vibe. I live in a similar neighbourhood, though it got a lot better over the years. When we first got there, was a broken window at ground floor every week with some houses. So we've not had like those sorts of problems. It's generally been pretty good since we've lived here. We've lived here about a decade, over a decade now.
I said like 99% of the people who live on our like area.
We have no idea about any of them. It's great,
yeah, and they're fine.
We knew one person who knew everybody, and there were some people who like weren't perfect. But then again, that person also wasn't perfect. So they would get into like real bother with each other. But we just, yeah. The worst we have had is that over summer, someone has some kids who are little shitheads, and they came into the walkway outside our place and just sprayed soap and shit and made it a massive mess, and it hasn't been cleaned up since, and I haven't had the fucking time to clean it up. Nor the inclination, since it's literally not something I should have to do. The council sends people to clean it once a week, and they haven't been here in a while. Or been doing it properly.
People leave crap in the hallway.
Yeah.
So they don't come in.
Yeah. So that's very annoying. Anyway, on that amazing note, we've got stuff to do. So I'll catch you later. Thanks for coming. Boy.
Boy.
Boy. Yeah, bye.
Bye. That was so weird.